When did you start thinking about military?
Well, that's a good question. I really wasn't thinking much about the military initially in the early 60s when the war broke out in Vietnam. And that I became, more focused on the military.
You were graduating high school about that time, right?
Yes, when you turn 18, you had to sign up for the draft.
Right.
And we did have a draft at that time. And I can recall when going through my physical exam at the 18. But I was placed in a category called inactive reserves because of my education. So I was part of the military in a sense, but I was deferred because of college and then medical school. During the Vietnam War, they had a program called the Berry Plan. And the Berry Plan was a way in which the military, utilizing actuarial data, would anticipate their needs for doctors in different specialties in different years. So you would, when you graduated from medical school, for me, 1969, I would apply and I would get deferred until I finished my residency. Hence, the military got people with greater amount of training to meet their needs. And I would then go in practicing in the area of medicine that I was, trained in. And I would went in at a higher rank. So for me, it provided an opportunity. I went in as a major versus a captain. And, and I went in practicing as chief of psychiatry versus a general medical officer. It was an advantage for me as well as for the military.
So 73, you finished and you joined the military.
Correct.
And you come in as a major.
Yes.
And what was your feeling about going into the military at that time, considering how unpopular the war was?
Well, I was open-minded. It was a great need for my specialty, for me personally, because the psychiatrist who I replaced was the only psychiatrist there. I went in I went from one day I was a civilian and the next day I was an officer. I had no idea anything about the military. It was strange. I remember seeing someone walking. I was a major and I said, "Excuse me, but can I just draw a picture of where you put your bars?" And because I had no idea how to even dress.
No training in customs and courtesies whatsoever.
No, I had no idea. None.
You had all these people saluting you as a major and
that was, and of course you'd walk by and there would be a group of soldiers marching and they would all salute you. And, I know how to salute, but I was pretty raw when it came to my understanding of how the military worked.
How did that impact your work?
There was a little bit of resentment because, here you are walking into the military. It took them 20 years or whatever time frame to reach the rank. And I'm walking in as a major. So I think they didn't really view us as regular Army people. And we were a little different in our status because we got extra pay for being, doctors and such. And we had none of the very little, in terms of the regular military protocol per se. I got there in the morning in my uniform, and we did have to do. I had to do sick call, and I had to do physical exam and run the emergency room, just like all the other doctors. We rotated,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I practiced in my own area, at my own clinic.